Another story we're following today, Residency is top of mind in the special sheriff's election next week in Jacksonville. That's because former Sheriff Mike Williams had to step down when it was revealed that he didn't live in Duval County as required by the city charter.
Well, the same news outlet that broke that story today reporting another residency question, exactly where the front runner in the sheriff's race lives. The Tributary reports that the sole Republican candidate, TK Waters, is registered to vote in Nocatee district precinct on the Duval County side, even though his campaign says he lives on the north side. On Your Side's Kaylee Tracy has been digging into the story today and joins us with what you've learned. Kaylee?
Yeah, Jessica and Anthony, Waters, the former chief of investigations for JSO, is endorsed by former Sheriff Mike Williams and Governor Ron DeSantis. Up until today, he declined to say where he lived, while law enforcement officers' specific addresses are protected by state law. JSO told Jacksonville News, another Jacksonville News outlet last month, that Waters had been living in a West Side mobile home, but that he had moved. Waters himself only said he lives in Jacksonville. The supervisor of elections confirmed Waters is registered to vote in that Nocatee precinct. Now, reporter Andrew Pantazzi discovered that Waters is registered in the same precinct as his wife, who's registered at a home owned by a Jacksonville sergeant in Nocatee. Pantazzi says the Waters moved out of a home down the street from the sergeant's house about 2 years ago. State law requires that voters be registered to vote and vote in the district where they actually live. Waters issued a statement in response to the story saying any implication that he doesn't live in Duval is, quote, a factually inaccurate smear. His statement went on to say, quote, following the tragic death of our son in our home, my wife and I made the difficult decision to move and began renting in other locations. In between moves earlier this year, I inadvertently kept my voter registration at a previous address, though I was not required to change it until my permanent home under construction is complete and ready to move into. Political scientist Mike Binder says it's surprising that Waters hasn't buttoned up the question about his residency prior to this particular election.
Just this particular election, because the only reason it's happening is because the previous sheriff had lived out of county and didn't report that initially, it makes it a salient issue and it's on voters' minds. And the fact that it wasn't taken care of, and when all this news broke months ago, it's baffling, to be perfectly honest with you.
The supervisor of elections says there's no deadline to update a new address, but notes it should be done before you vote, which Waters has already done, the supervisor of elections says. I also asked Waters' campaign if he ever lived in that sergeant's home. I'm waiting to hear back. Back to you.
Kaylee Tracy, thank you. And we did reach out to the Duval Democratic Party and the Duval GOP for a reaction. The statement from the Democratic Party reads in part, quote, we demand he provide a detailed accounting to authorities of where he has lived in Duval County for the required 183 consecutive days prior to candidate qualifying, and answer why he's not registered at his alleged North Side home. Now, the Duval County GOP responded to our request by sending us TK Waters' statement, telling us they want to just leave it at that.